Thank you for joining us. And before we get started with today's video, if you guys like what you're seeing and hearing from the Locked On Senators podcast, go ahead and hit like, smash the subscribe button so you can be the first to know about Sens content. Now, we're going to be doing a ton of these prospect profiles, so if you agree this is someone the Sens should look at or steer clear, leave your comment below so we can hear from you. Now, we got 64 of these, so let's get into it.
All right, coming in at number 9, we're going back to the U.S. National Team Development Program, not even for the final time in our top 64. It feels like every other pick is out of that program. Very strong year for them. And one of the reasons why they were so successful was their number 1 center was absolutely electric. And he comes in at number 9 on our rankings. It's Frank Nazar.
I really like Frank Nazar, Ross, and there's so much to get into, but let's kind of paint the picture here. So you mentioned it from the U.S. program, of course. He sits at five. I've got him at 5'10", 174 pounds. So
180
yeah,
at the combine.
okay. So 5'10", 180, and with the USA team in the U18 league in 56 games, he had 28 goals, 42 assists, good for 70 points. He is a Michigan guy, born and raised in Michigan, and wouldn't you know it, he's committed to Michigan University. That's no shock at all. And just for completeness sake, the rest of his stats in the USHL, in 24 games, he had 15 goals, 20 assists, good for 35 points. Ross, the thing that you need to note about Frank Nazar is he scored over a point per game pace at every single level of hockey he's played since 2019.
And he relies on his skating to be elite. He was voted the second best straight line skater in the draft, according to Elite Prospect Scouts. He builds everything of his game off of that great skating. Elite Prospects, they're the highest on him, so maybe take this for what it will. But he is this year's Mr. Medals, right? We had that with
I
with
have that
Jake
in my notes
Sanderson.
too, Ross. Yep.
Do you?
Yep.
Nice. It seems like everything that the team put, or that the team of scouts, I mean to say, put out about Frank Nazar was like, oh yeah, he's the best at this. He's second best at that. So he's got the number 1 highest ceiling according to Elite Prospects.
Not a
He's
big deal.
the best transition forward according to Elite Prospects, and he's the second best straight line skater, problem solver, and second best vision in the draft as well. Elite Prospects has him ranked 5th overall. Tony Ferrari and Chris Peters both have him at 7th. Scott Wheeler has him at 11th. Craig Button and Bob McKenzie both have him at 14. And Corey Prodman has him all the way down at 19. So that is an average of 11. And just a teaser, tomorrow's player is also an average of 11 and also a member of the US NTDP. So it was a coin toss of who we were going to put. I decided to just go alphabetically. The N is below. Oh, stay tuned tomorrow and you'll find out there. But yeah, as you mentioned it, 5'10", a little bit undersized. And that is the only reason why he's going to fall lower than his draft slot, I believe.
Yeah, I would agree. And our friend Scott Wheeler, he wrote an article about Nazar and kind of his play recently, and he said that his family is a big part of why he succeeds. They're always cheering him on, and they're always helping him reach his goals. And he said he's been in the gym like an animal in this offseason and lately. So I think, although maybe that won't help his height, he's going to build up some much needed muscle, which will help out in some of his games that he needs to improve on. But let's get back to what this guy excels at. It's the skating. Like, the skating is so impressive for me because he's able, we mentioned the medal. So he's the highest transition forward, second straight line skating, and second vision and problem solving. Well, you see that when he's flying through the neutral zone. He's so damn shifty. It's impossible to read what he wants to do. When I was watching his highlights, a lot of them are just him blowing by defenders, and not just one defender, but 2. He gets double teamed and he'll blow by both of them when they're trying to spread their gap control and stop him. Not a problem for Frank Nazar. He just gets right by them. And then he doesn't just like shoot 5-hole on the goalie. He does another shifty move to deke through the goalie. So in a couple of strides, he's just made 3 players on opposition teams look foolish. And he's able to do that time and time again.
Yeah, I love his game. And the problem is, does he project as a centerman at the next level?
I actually think he projects more as a winger, and I know he's played mostly center position. But and McKean's hockey, they made note of this. They were saying that his play defending down low isn't really great. I mean, when you have that size and you're a centerman, down low defending is tough. So hopefully he can bulk up a little here. And I think when you have that speed to just blow by guys on the wing, it's better suited that he just ends up being a winger, in my opinion. So that's why I think, but having that value and that versatility of being able to play the wing or up the middle is immensely valuable to teams looking at you to pick you.
Yeah, well, he's certainly had no problem producing at the center of the ice throughout his minor hockey and into junior career. You can see the numbers if you're watching on YouTube. But Pillsy, he's a right shot, so you're looking at a center/right wing. And the thing that I love most outside of the speed too is how he utilizes his teammates. Like whoever plays with him plays at the top of their game. Like when Cutter Gauthier started rising up the draft boards, yeah, he played center for a little while there. And we're going to talk to Pronman and Chris Peters about what made Gauthier tick. But also, a part of what made him tick was getting put up on a line with Frank Nazar because he's the type of player that just makes his teammates better. The shades of for elite prospects, it's a pretty lofty comparison. Braden Point, they see that. And not a whole lot of 5'10 centermen to pick from at the NHL level,
Yep.
which is why he's probably lower on Bob McKenzie and Craig Button, two guys who more so get their rankings from talking to people who are connected to National Hockey League teams. But the public sphere absolutely loves him. He's a favorite of the elite prospects of the world and the Scott Wheelers. Like these guys absolutely adore what his potential could be, whether it's at wing or center. He's going to be on a first power play unit for some team down the road. He's going to contribute at 5-on-5, and he's a special talent. And I think that the Sens would be very smart to take him at 7, but he just doesn't seem like a Sens type player, although the US program does give me a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if the Sens were going to take a home run swing on a pick, EP
This
says
guy.
highest ceiling. He does so many things right in a league that's becoming more and more focused and emphasized on skating. He does all that great. He's fast and he's shifty. I just think there's so many different ways you could use this guy in a roster shakeup that it would be so valuable for the Sens to get a guy like this in their prospect pipeline. And I would say 2 years at the most for this guy to be NHL ready. Like he
Oh,
just has
yeah.
so many skills. He's developed at the US program. He's going to be going to Michigan. Like the path that he's taking is a path paved with success. So I would be very comfortable with the Sens drafting him, Ross. And I got him at 4.5 stars.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's one of my higher ranked guys. I really like him. I know maybe he doesn't have that size and that motor that the Sens usually go for, but they've got guys like that in their prospect pipeline right now, and I think they could afford to try to swing a little different way. And if you're going to do that with anyone, I'm comfortable doing with Frank Nazar.
Yeah, I've got him at 4 stars as well. So a little bit less than you, but I still see the appeal to getting him. Now, the knock on him is, and maybe this is the sum of playing for levels where you just dominate at growing up, but he can be a little careless with the puck, try to do too much with it on his stick. But again, to me, that's easy to coach out. He has to add muscle. You can't, if you're going to be 5'10 and play center at the NHL, you probably want to be at least 190, at least
Yeah.
get a little extra muscle to play better down low. Defending is never going to be his strength. He's not going to be, I don't think, at least on a first PK unit at the National Hockey League level. But this is just a purely offensively gifted, and not only that, but in transition, which is such an important part now in the National Hockey League. And he's just going to immediately make a team better the second he steps in the lineup. I think you're right. He goes one and done at Michigan this upcoming year and then steps right into the National Hockey League. I think that as long as, again, that he can add muscle. Scott Wheeler did a great article on him talking about his quiet drive, and this guy's going to be in the gym nonstop adding muscle because he sees that, I'm sure, as if that's the weakness on me, like that's something that I can easily work on and just
Yeah, you can
improve.
control that for sure.
It's a controllable. So absolutely expecting Nazar to bulk up, be ready to go. His boy Rutger McGroarty, those two are going to Michigan together. You wonder if they're going to be on the same line. You know, McGroarty a lot more meat and potatoes with Nazar as more flash and dance. So I think those two could be pretty brilliant if they find their way onto a line together at some point. Obviously, 2 freshmen. How confident? I mean, Michigan had the freshman 5 last year,
They know how to deal with freshmen. Yeah,
they know how to deal with freshmen. So he's going into a great developmental program there at Michigan. I'm super high on him. So 4 stars for me for Frank Nazar. You got 4.5 for the kid from Michigan.